Patricia Hall had always dreamed of becoming a grandmother. At 56, she had spent years imagining the moment she would hold her first grandchild, not because she was done being a mother, but because she believed grandchildren were a second chance, a softer, slower, more forgiving version of parenthood. And now, finally, that moment was close. Her only daughter, Allison, was expecting her first baby. The news had hit Patricia like sunrise warm, blinding, impossible to ignore. She bought tiny white booties the same day. She started knitting pastel blankets. She even repainted the guest room, turning it into a nursery whenever the baby visited. Patricia was the kind of mother who prepared not just with money, but with heart. Every week she asked, "Allie, how are you feeling? Is the baby kicking yet?" Every month she bought something new. A stroller, a crib, soft toys, organic onesies. And every time, Allison smiled. Polite, warm, short. But something felt off. Not wrong, not distant, just off. Like a candle burning with a weaker flame. Patricia noticed, but she ignored it. Because that's what mothers do. They hope things are fine until they're clearly not. The announcement. 3 months before the due date, Patricia expected an invitation to the baby shower. She imagined the decorations. She imagined arriving early to help set up. She even imagined crying when Allison opened the tiny pink dress Patricia had bought. But no invitation came. Patricia waited 1 day, 3 days, a week, nothing. Finally, she asked casually, "Allie, beta, baby shower cab high." There was a pause. A strange, stretched-out pause. Then Allison said softly, "Mom, we decided to keep it small. Just my in-laws and a few friends. It wasn't a big deal." Patricia laughed awkwardly at first. Thought it was a joke. It wasn't. She felt her heart drop heavy, sudden, like an elevator stopping at the wrong floor. "Just your in-laws," she whispered. "Not even your own mother." Allison's voice stayed flat. "Mom, it's not personal. It's just space. I needed space. Space. From the woman who raised her alone. From the woman who worked double shifts for years. From the woman who paid for half the baby expenses without being asked." But Patricia smiled anyway. Mothers do that too. They hide pain if it protects their children. The silence. For the next few days, Patricia tried to convince herself. Maybe she really wanted a small event. Maybe the in-laws insisted. Maybe she didn't want to stress me. But the truth kept echoing. She didn't want me there. And that hurt more deeply than Patricia expected. She stopped knitting. Stopped going to baby stores. Stopped looking at the tiny socks in the drawer. She began sleeping less, thinking more. What did I do wrong? Did I say something? Did I push too much? Did I annoy her? Mothers blame themselves before blaming anyone else. A strange call. One evening, Patricia received a call from Allison's mother, Monica Evans, a woman Patricia barely knew. Her voice sounded overly sweet, the kind of sweet that hides salt beneath. "Hi Patricia. I just wanted to check if Allison told you about the shower." Patricia swallowed. "Yes. She said you wanted to keep it small." There was another pause. A long one. "Oh, did she say that?" Patricia frowned. Something felt strange. Monica quickly added, "Anyway, it was lovely. I'm sure you understand." Understand what? Being excluded from your own daughter's celebration. Being replaced by strangers. But Patricia said nothing. She hung up politely. And then she cried for the first time in years. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet tears that come from a soul that's been bruised too long. The wrong picture. 2 days later, Patricia logged on to Facebook. She rarely used it, except to like baby posts or share inspirational quotes. Then she saw it. A picture from the baby shower. Beautiful decorations. Balloon arches. Pink cupcakes. Dozens of guests. Small event, Allison had said. It wasn't small. It was big, beautiful, and full of people. Everyone. Except her. Patricia stared at the photo until her eyes blurred. Every smile in the picture felt like a slap. But then, something else hit her. There was a woman in the picture, standing close to Allison. A woman Patricia didn't recognize. Mid-50s, blonde hair, expensive clothes, standing right where a mother should stand. Someone commented, "Allison's second mom. So lovely to see you both together." Second mom. Patricia felt the ground shift beneath her. Who was this woman? Why was she being called that? Why was she standing beside Patricia's pregnant daughter like she belonged there? For the first time, Patricia felt something stronger than sadness. She felt fear. A fear that someone had taken her place in Allison's life. A fear that there was a secret nobody was telling her. A fear that she was being pushed out. Deliberately, Patricia couldn't sleep that night. She kept zooming into the picture again and again, trying to understand who the woman beside Allison was. She had a hand placed gently on Allison's belly as if she had earned that right, as if she belonged there. Something inside Patricia twisted painfully. She whispered to herself, "Who are you?" She clicked on the woman's profile. The name read, Rebecca White. From California, married, a mother of one son. Pictures with Allison at cafes, shopping malls, even at a doctor's appointment. Patricia felt her breath catch. Doctor's appointment. Allison had always taken Patricia with her to those until 2 months ago when she suddenly said, "Mom, it's okay. I'll go alone." Alone, or with someone else. The message? Patricia's hands trembled as she opened a private message from Rebecca. Yes, there was a message. Unread. Sent weeks ago. It said, "Hi Patricia. I'm so grateful to be part of Allison's life. She really needed a mother figure close by." Mother figure. Mother figure. The words stabbed deep. Patricia read the message 10 times. Rebecca had sent a little smiley face at the end, making the message feel even more mocking. She didn't reply. She didn't know how to. But her heart knew one thing. Someone had stepped into her daughter's life quietly, silently, replacing her piece by piece. The confrontation that wasn't. The next afternoon, Patricia decided she would talk to Allison. What's the worst that could happen? She rehearsed her words. "Allie, I saw the baby shower pictures. Who is this woman? Why didn't you tell me?" But when Allison opened the door, Patricia froze. Her daughter looked exhausted, eyes swollen, cheeks pale, hair messy. This wasn't the glowing pregnant woman from the pictures. This was someone stressed, tired, scared. Patricia softened instantly. "Mom," Allison whispered, surprised. Patricia swallowed her rehearsed words and asked gently, "Beta, are you okay?" Allison forced a smile. Too quick. Too practiced. "Yes, I'm fine." Patricia could see the lie, but pretended not to. "I made soup for you. Chicken and vegetables. Your favorite?" Allison nodded gratefully. They sat together in the kitchen, quiet, awkward. A distance between them Patricia didn't know how to cross. She wanted to ask about the baby shower, about Rebecca, about the mother figure. But every time she opened her mouth, Allison would touch her belly with a wince almost, like she was in pain. Patricia decided, today wasn't the day to confront her. Motherhood had taught her the art of timing. A slip of the tongue. As Patricia stood to leave, Allison suddenly said, "Mom, thank you for always being there. Even when I don't act like it." Patricia turned slowly. "Beta, what's happening?" Allison opened her mouth, closed it. Her eyes filled with tears, but she wiped them quickly. "Nothing. Everything is fine. I promise." Lies? But why? Patricia stepped closer, gently cupping Allison's face. "Allie, you can tell me anything." Allison shook her head. She whispered something so softly Patricia almost missed it. "I can't. Not yet." The phone call in the hallway. 2 days later, Patricia visited again. She had made banana bread. Allison's craving food during the first trimester. As she approached the apartment door, She heard voices inside. Allison's voice. And a man's voice, her husband, Mark, but their tone wasn't normal. It was tense. Urgent. Patricia didn't want to eavesdrop, but the words reached her before she could knock. Mark, why didn't you just invite her? She's your mother. Allison, Mark, you don't understand. Rebecca said. Silence. Footsteps. A sigh. Mark, Rebecca isn't your family. Patricia is. Allison, she said Mom would judge me. She said Mom might make a scene. She said, Mark, since when do you listen to her more than your own mother? Silence again. A long, heavy silence. Then Allison said in a broken voice, because Rebecca knows things Mom doesn't. Patricia's heart dropped. Her fingers trembled on the doorknob. What things? What did Rebecca know? What was Allison hiding? She turned quietly, walked back down the hallway, and left without knocking. The visit from Monica. 2 evenings later, Patricia received an unexpected visitor, Allison's mother-in-law, Monica. She stood on the doorstep with a fake smile that didn't reach her eyes. Patricia, can we talk? Patricia hesitated but nodded. They sat in the living room, the air thick and polite and uncomfortable. Monica spoke first. I heard you found the pictures online. Patricia stayed silent. I just want to clear something up. She shifted in her seat. Rebecca is involved because Allison needs emotional support. Patricia narrowed her eyes. From a stranger. Monica exhaled sharply. Look, Allison didn't tell you everything. She's under a lot of pressure. Stress isn't good for the baby. And frankly, she paused. Sometimes mothers can be overwhelming. There it was, the knife, wrapped in polite words, but sharp enough to cut. Patricia's voice trembled. Is that what Allison said about me? Monica looked away. She said you care too much. You get too involved. Rebecca is calmer, cooler, more controlled. Patricia felt like she'd been stabbed repeatedly with small, polite insults. Posts, friends, tags, and history. And what she found made her blood run cold. Then Monica stood and added one last sentence. Just don't question Allison too much. It will push her away more. She left, leaving Patricia with pain, confusion, and the growing suspicion that everyone was hiding something from her. A night of answers. That night, Patricia made a decision. She wasn't going to sit quietly anymore. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Her daughter was scared. She was being manipulated. And Patricia wasn't going to let anyone replace her, not Rebecca, not Monica, not anyone. So she opened her laptop, went back to Rebecca's profile, and started digging deeply into her. Patricia clicked view all photos on Rebecca's Facebook. At first, everything seemed normal. Family photos, a child's birthday party, vacations, selfies with coffee. But then something caught her eye. A picture from 8 months ago. Rebecca standing outside a mental health clinic. The caption, helping people heal is my calling. Trauma doesn't disappear unless someone listens. Patricia frowned. Was Rebecca a therapist? She checked the About section. Occupation, trauma counselor and family therapist. Now it made sense. Someone like that could easily get inside a vulnerable person's mind. Someone like that could convince Allison she needed protection. Someone like that could quietly turn a daughter away from her own mother. But why would she? Patricia kept scrolling, and that's when she found something darker. The photo that shouldn't exist. It was a picture from 6 months ago. A group photo, Rebecca, Allison, a woman Patricia didn't recognize, and a man, Rebecca's husband. But the caption made Patricia's stomach twist. Healing Circle Meeting Number 7. Rebuilding Trust After Betrayal. Betrayal. Rebuilding Trust. Why was Allison there? Patricia clicked the comments. One comment from the unknown woman read, Can't believe how strong your girl is, Rebecca. She's come so far. Your girl. Your girl. Patricia's hands shook. Why would Allison be part of therapy that involved betrayal? What betrayal? Whose betrayal? She kept scrolling through the group's posts and found more phrases that made her heart race. Toxic parent detachment program. Creating healthy distance from controlling family members. Reparenting the inner child. And then the one that hit the hardest. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose, not the one you were born into. Patricia felt dizzy. Was this group training her daughter to disconnect from her? How? And then at the bottom of the page, she saw a recent post where Rebecca tagged Allison. The caption read, "Proud of Allison for taking the bold steps she needed." Bold steps. Steps away from what, or from who? Patricia closed the laptop with trembling fingers. Something was deeply wrong. Not normal wrong. Dangerously wrong. The call at 2 a.m. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Patricia's phone rang. It was Allison. Her voice shaky. Terrified. Mom, I didn't know who else to call. Patricia sat up instantly. Allie, are you okay? Allison's breath came fast and uneven. Mom, can you come please? But don't tell anyone. Not Mark, not Rebecca, no one. Patricia grabbed her keys. Allison, stay calm. I'm on my way. But before Allison hung up, Patricia heard a sound in the background. A door slamming. Someone shouting. Someone angry. Then Allison whispered in fear. Mom, she lost control. Patricia froze. She heard footsteps approaching Allison. A harsh voice in the background. Give me the phone. And then the line went dead. The race through the night. Patricia didn't remember locking her house. Didn't remember driving. Didn't remember half the red lights she sped through. Her only thought, get to Allison. When she reached Allison's apartment building, the lobby lights were off. Strange for a place that usually stayed lit all night. She pressed the elevator button. It didn't work. So she ran up 6 flights of stairs, her breath burning, knees aching, but she didn't stop. At Allison's door, she knocked softly. Allison, Beta, it's Mom. No answer. She knocked harder. Allison, please. Still nothing. She was about to knock again when she heard soft crying from inside. Not Allison's. A different tone. A deeper sob. Footsteps approached. Slow, uneven. And then the door opened. Rebecca stood there, her hair messy, eyes red, face swollen as if she had been crying for hours. But her voice was cold. Too cold. Patricia, what are you doing here? Patricia remained calm but firm. Allison called me. Where is she? Rebecca leaned against the doorframe as if she were exhausted. Patricia, she's resting. She had a panic attack. Patricia narrowed her eyes. A panic attack caused by what? Rebecca hesitated just for a second, but Patricia caught it. She's overwhelmed. The pregnancy, stress, childhood trauma. Patricia stiffened. Childhood trauma. What trauma? Rebecca folded her arms. You? Being emotionally overbearing. She's been recovering from that. Patricia's jaw clenched. I see. Rebecca continued, voice slow, as if rehearsed. You need to give her space. You rushing here in the middle of the night only proves what I've been trying to help her understand. Patricia took a step forward, her voice ice. I want to speak to my daughter. Rebecca blocked the doorway. That's not a good idea right now. She doesn't want to see you. Patricia's blood boiled. You're telling me, she whispered, that my child called me for help, but now, suddenly she doesn't want to see me. Rebecca's eyes flicked just a flick to the back of the apartment. Patricia saw it. Fear? Guilt? A secret. Someone was behind her. Someone who didn't want Patricia inside. Patricia's voice hardened. If you don't step aside, I will call the police. Rebecca froze. Then something changed in her. Her shoulders dropped. Her bravado cracked, and she whispered, You don't understand. Allison is special. She listens. She trusts me. I can help her in ways you never could. Patricia stepped forward. You're not her therapist. Rebecca's eyes widened. How do you? Patricia didn't let her finish. You're obsessed with my daughter. Rebecca blinked rapidly. Her breathing quickened. Her eyes darted around. She whispered, almost pleading. She's the only one who needed me. Really needed me. Patricia felt her chest tighten. This wasn't just manipulation anymore. This was obsession. Attachment. Possession. Patricia spoke softly but firmly. Move. Now. Rebecca's facade finally cracked. Tears rolled down her face. She leave me. She whispered. She stopped needing me. Patricia looked straight into her eyes. She was never yours to need. Rebecca stepped aside. Slowly. And Patricia entered the apartment. And what she saw inside stopped her heart. When Patricia stepped into the apartment, she didn't find chaos. She didn't find danger. She found something much more painful. She found fear. Not fear of someone hurting her, but fear of disappointing someone she loved. Allison sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her hands shaking slightly. Her eyes were puffy, the kind of puffy that only comes after crying for hours. The moment she saw her mother, her face crumbled. Mom? Patricia rushed to her side and held her gently. Allie, I'm here. Tell me what's going on. Allison clutched her mother's hand, as if afraid it might slip away. Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't know who else to call. Patricia stroked her hair. Why didn't you call Mark? Allison hesitated. Her voice cracked. Because I didn't want him to worry. And Rebecca was already upset. I didn't know what to do. Rebecca stood near the doorway, arms wrapped around herself, silently crying. The silence in the room was thick, not hateful, just heavy and confused. The conversation that should have happened months ago. Patricia took a deep breath. Allie, I saw the baby shower pictures. Allison froze. Her eyes immediately watered again. Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to find out that way. Patricia's voice was calm but firm. Why wasn't I invited? Why didn't you tell me? Allison wiped her cheeks. Because I didn't want to overwhelm you. Patricia frowned gently. Overwhelm me. Beta, I planned your wedding alone. I raised you alone. I can handle a baby shower. Allison shook her head. That's not what I meant. She took a shaky breath. Mom, you always want everything to be perfect. And I'm not perfect right now. Patricia's chest tightened. What do you mean? Allison looked away, tears slipping down her face. I'm scared, Mom. More scared than I've ever been. Everyone thinks I'm glowing and happy, but inside I'm terrified. What if I'm not a good mother? What if I mess everything up? What if I'm not ready? What if... Patricia squeezed her hand. Allie, why didn't you tell me this? Allison looked down. Because you're strong. And I thought if I showed you my fear, you'd think I couldn't handle motherhood. Patricia felt something inside her break gently, like a quiet heartbreak. Oh, honey. She pulled Allison into her arms. I'm your mother. I would never think you're weak for being scared. Pregnancy is emotional. Fear is normal. Allison clung to her. But Rebecca said, she said that sometimes you put pressure on me without noticing. That you expect too much. That I should protect my peace. Patricia looked at Rebecca. Rebecca looked down, ashamed. Allison, Patricia said softly, you don't need to protect your peace from me. I'm on your side. Allison wiped her tears again. I know that now. I let things get too big inside my head. Rebecca's truth. Patricia turned to Rebecca. Why did you get so close to her? Rebecca swallowed hard. Because she reminded me of myself. When I was pregnant, I had no mother, no support. And I fell apart. When Allison came to the clinic for prenatal anxiety, she was fragile. I just wanted to help. Patricia's eyes softened. So you weren't trying to steal her from me? Rebecca shook her head quickly, crying again. No, God no. I was trying to be there only until she felt steady. But she leaned on me more than I expected. And I got attached. Too attached. Allison touched Rebecca's hand. You tried your best, I know. Patricia sighed gently. I understand helping. But you should have never made her feel like she had to choose between us. Rebecca nodded slowly. You're right. I'm sorry, truly. And Patricia believed her. Rebecca wasn't evil. She was wounded. She was lonely. She had filled a space temporarily, a space created not by malice, but by unspoken fear. The real reason Allison pulled away. Patricia turned back to her daughter. Allie, please tell me everything. All of it. What were you hiding from me? Allison took a deep breath and finally spoke the truth. Mom, the baby shower wasn't small. I lied. Patricia stayed quiet. I didn't invite you because I thought you'd see what a mess I am. I'm behind on decorating the nursery. I haven't packed a hospital bag. I cry every night. I panic about everything. I thought you'd think I was failing. Patricia felt tears gather in her own eyes. Oh, sweetheart. None of that makes you a failure. Allison sobbed. I wanted to be the strong daughter you raised. But I'm not. I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed. And Rebecca was the only one I told, because I didn't want to disappoint you. Patricia pulled her close again, kissing her forehead. You could never disappoint me. Not in 1,000 lifetimes. Allison broke down in her arms. I missed you, Mom. Patricia hugged her tighter. I never stopped being here. A moment of peace. For the first time in months, the room felt warm. Not empty. Not distant. Just healing. Patricia held Allison's hand. Rebecca wiped her tears silently. The air finally relaxed. Allison whispered, Mom, can we start over? Patricia smiled through her tears. There's nothing to start over. Beta. We never ended. Rebecca sniffed. And I'm truly sorry. I should have involved you more, Patricia. Patricia nodded. It's okay. You helped when she needed someone. For that, I'm grateful. Rebecca's eyes widened slightly, surprised by the kindness. Then Allison spoke the words Patricia had waited months to hear. Mom, will you help me with the nursery? I want you to teach me everything. I need you. Patricia kissed her daughter's hand. I've been waiting for you to say that. But there was still something Patricia didn't know. A secret Allison was hiding. Not about the baby shower. Not about Rebecca. Something deeper. Something heavier. Something she planned to tell her mother soon. But not tonight. Tonight was about healing. Tomorrow, the truth would come. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the apartment window, catching dust in golden beams. The air smelled faintly of banana bread Patricia had brought the night before. For the first time in weeks, Allison smiled at her mother without fear or guilt, shadowing her face. Mom, Allison whispered, can we just have breakfast together? Like old times. Patricia grinned. Of course, Beta, pancakes, eggs, or do you want banana bread again? All of it, Allison said, laughing softly. A laugh that seemed lighter than it had in months. As they cooked together, Patricia noticed the subtle changes in Allison. Her hands were steadier. Her voice carried more confidence. And though the shadows of anxiety still lingered in her eyes, they were no longer heavy enough to pull her down completely. Rebecca, meanwhile, lingered near the counter, quietly putting away dishes, trying to find her place. Patricia watched her. She understood now. Rebecca wasn't a villain. She was just a helper who had overstepped boundaries without realizing it. Patricia said gently, Rebecca, thank you. You helped Allison when she needed support. But now, she needs her mother. And I'm here. Fully? Rebecca nodded, swallowing back tears. I understand. And I'll step back. I care about her. I didn't know how else to help. Patricia smiled warmly. You helped, and that's enough. Just let her come back to us in her own time. The nursery project. Later that day, they moved on to the nursery. Patricia brought out stacks of blankets, toys, and carefully folded onesies. I want you to do it, Beta, Patricia said, placing a small paintbrush in Allison's hand. Every color, every detail, it's yours. You'll make this room your own. Allison hesitated, then slowly began painting the wall a soft pastel yellow. Mom, I always wanted to do this with you, she admitted quietly. Patricia took her hand again. We still can. It's never too late. Rebecca watched from the doorway, quietly stepping back to let mother and daughter reclaim this moment. Patricia sensed Rebecca's quiet apology and nodded subtly. No words were needed. The room began to take shape slowly, filled with warmth, laughter, and love. For the first time in weeks, Allison felt safe. The confession. Later that afternoon, after the nursery was tidy, Allison sat beside Patricia on the couch. Her hands fidgeted nervously. Mom, there's something else, she whispered, her voice trembling. Patricia tilted her head. Anything, Beta. You can tell me. Allison took a deep breath. I didn't just call Rebecca because of fear or stress. I've been feeling overwhelmed because I was hiding something else too. Something I've been scared to tell you. Patricia's heart clenched. Whatever it is, you won't lose me. I promise. Allison paused, then whispered, I lost my job at the design firm last month. I didn't want you to worry, and I've been trying to handle everything on my own. I didn't want to admit it. Patricia hugged her tightly. Allie, you don't have to carry everything alone. Not now, not ever. That's why I'm here. Allison sobbed into her mother's shoulder. I was so scared you'd be disappointed. Patricia kissed the top of her daughter's head. Beta, disappointment is temporary. Love is forever. And I'm proud of you no matter what. An emotional resolution. By evening, the apartment was quiet, warm, and filled with the aroma of home-cooked food. Patricia, Allison, and even Rebecca sat together. No awkward silences. No fear. Just understanding. Allison smiled. Mom, I think I can finally let go of my fear. I want you to be part of everything. The baby shower, the nursery, the first kicks, everything. Patricia took her hand, squeezing gently. And I'll be here, Beta, every step of the way. Rebecca added softly. And I'll step back. But I'll always care. You've got a strong support system, Allison. Never forget that. Allison nodded. Thank you, truly. And I'm sorry for letting fear control me. It won't happen again. Patricia smiled. Fear is natural, Beta. But courage. Courage is telling the truth. And today, you were courageous. For the first time, Allison felt a sense of relief. A sense of balance returning to her life. She had made mistakes. She had hidden things. But she was no longer alone. A mother's quiet pride. That night, after Allison fell asleep on the couch, Patricia sat by the nursery window, looking at the mango trees swaying gently outside. She thought about the past months, the hurt, the misunderstandings, the pain of feeling excluded from her daughter's life. But she also thought about tonight, the reconciliation, the healing, the soft laughter that filled the apartment. She whispered to herself, money, gifts, and appearances can't build a bond. But love, patience, understanding, those can rebuild anything. For the first time in weeks, Patricia allowed herself to relax fully. She knew the journey wasn't over. There would be challenges. Parenthood was only beginning for Allison. But the foundation was strong, built on honesty, trust, and unconditional love. Patricia glanced at the nursery, at the little blanket she had knitted, and felt a quiet swell of pride. Not for herself, but for her daughter. For Allison's courage. For the life they were about to welcome together. And with that thought, Patricia finally allowed herself a small, contented smile. The following week, Patricia suggested something small. Allie, why don't we host a private baby shower? Just us, the baby, and a few close friends. Allison hesitated. Mom, I don't want it to feel forced. Everyone else already celebrated. Patricia shook her head gently. No, Beta. This isn't about appearances. This is about you and your child. A celebration just for love, not for show. Allison finally agreed. Planning the intimate gathering, Patricia and Allison spent the next few days preparing. The nursery was decorated softly, with pastel tones Allison loved. Homemade snacks, finger foods, and Patricia's famous banana bread lined the table. Soft music played in the background, a mix of lullabies and classic jazz. Allison smiled genuinely, for the first time in weeks. Mom, I can't believe we're doing this. It feels right. Patricia kissed her forehead. That's because it is right. Nothing forced. No expectations. Just love. Even Rebecca was invited, but this time, Allison personally asked. She had accepted Patricia's guidance, realizing that Rebecca had never meant harm. The day of the shower. The morning sun filtered through the nursery windows. Guests arrived quietly, a few friends, close family, and Rebecca. Allison wore a soft dress, her hair tied in a loose braid. She looked radiant not because of makeup or extravagance, but because she was genuinely happy and at peace. Patricia walked beside her, carrying a small basket of gifts. Every step felt like a reclaiming of her role as mother. The gathering was filled with gentle laughter. Guests played small games, guessing baby names, guessing birth dates. Allison opened gifts slowly, savoring every moment. Rebecca helped with the camera, capturing candid smiles and quiet moments. At one point, Patricia pulled Allison aside. Beta, how are you feeling? Allison laughed softly. Mom, lighter. I feel like me again. Patricia hugged her. That's all I wanted. For you to feel like yourself. Not overwhelmed, not afraid, just you. A special moment. As the gathering continued, Patricia brought out a small box. She handed it to Allison. What's this, Mom? Allison asked. Patricia smiled. Open it. Inside were the tiny booties Patricia had knitted months ago. The ones she had imagined presenting at the original shower. Alongside them was a note. For your child, with all my love. May you always know that love is stronger than fear, stronger than mistakes, and stronger than distance. Allison's eyes filled with tears. She hugged her mother tightly. Mom, I'm so sorry I doubted you, or worried about disappointing you. You've always been my anchor. Patricia held her close. Beta, there's nothing to apologize for. Life is messy. Parenthood is messy. But we face it together. Rebecca watched silently, smiling softly. She had no role in replacing Patricia anymore. She only supported, and that was enough. Reflections. Later that day, after guests had left, Patricia and Allison sat quietly in the nursery. Allison gently touched the wall she had painted herself. Mom, I realized something. I was scared of being judged, and I felt guilty for feeling scared. But I also realized I didn't need to hide from you. I didn't need to protect myself from your love. You never judged me. You only guided me. Patricia smiled warmly. Exactly, Beta. Love never judges. It waits. It forgives. It nurtures. Allison looked at the tiny booties. I can't wait to teach my child all the things you taught me. Mom, about patience, kindness, and love. Patricia felt tears rise. She realized that this quiet, heartfelt gathering had achieved more than any grand, extravagant celebration could have. The baby's arrival was still months away. But already, a foundation had been built. A foundation of love, trust, and understanding. A bond rekindled. That evening, Patricia watched Allison place the tiny booties on the changing table. She thought about the past weeks, the pain, the misunderstandings, the fear, and the distance. But now, the shadows had lifted. Allison had learned that asking for help wasn't a weakness. Rebecca had learned that her role was temporary, meant to support, not replace. And Patricia? Patricia realized that love wasn't measured by presence alone, but by the quiet, patient understanding that could heal even months of hidden fear. Allison turned to Patricia, a small smile playing on her lips. "Mom, thank you for not giving up on me." Patricia hugged her again, feeling the weight of months of worry and heartache lift slightly. "No, Beta, thank you for letting me in again." It was a quiet moment, one of many they would share. But in that moment, Patricia knew the bond between mother and daughter was stronger than any fear, any distance, or any misunderstanding, and that strength would guide them through the challenges ahead, including the arrival of the baby and the new chapter in their lives. A few weeks later, the city's spring sunshine spilled through the nursery windows. The air smelled faintly of flowers, freshly baked bread, and anticipation. Allison's due date was approaching, and the bond between mother and daughter had never felt stronger. Patricia watched Allison move around the room, carefully arranging soft toys on the shelves. "Beta, you're glowing," she said softly. Allison smiled. But it wasn't just the pregnancy glow, it was the calm that comes from feeling loved and supported, from finally feeling safe. "Mom, I've been thinking," Allison said. "I want you to be part of every decision, from the baby's name to the nursery decor, to the hospital plan. Everything." Patricia squeezed her hand. "Beta, that's all I've ever wanted. To be here, and I promise, I will be. Every step of the way." Even Rebecca, who was quietly sitting on a chair in the corner, nodded with a smile. She had gracefully stepped into the background, understanding her role had always been about guidance, never replacement. The baby shower, properly done. A sunny Saturday afternoon, Patricia and Allison held another small gathering, a real baby shower. Intimate and heartfelt. Only close family and friends were invited. The atmosphere was warm. Soft pastel decorations adorned the room. Gentle music played, and laughter filled the air. The baby shower was nothing extravagant, yet everything felt perfect. Allison opened gifts slowly, savoring each one. Some gifts were practical diapers, clothes, blankets, but others were sentimental, handmade toys, framed quotes, and Patricia's knitted blankets. At one point, Allison held up a tiny booty and laughed softly. "Mom, I remember this. You gave me these months ago, and I didn't even appreciate them at the time." Patricia smiled. "It's not about appreciating the gift. It's about the love that went into it. That never changes." Beta, even Rebecca handed Allison a small package. "I just wanted to leave something behind. Something you'll remember," she said softly. Allison accepted it with gratitude, realizing that while Rebecca had caused misunderstandings, her intentions had been rooted in care. Reflections on love and understanding. Later, Patricia and Allison stepped outside onto the balcony. The city hummed in the distance, but the noise didn't reach them. Here, in the quiet, they could speak freely. "Allie," Patricia said gently, "I know the past few months have been complicated." Allison nodded, her hands resting on her growing belly. "They have, Mom, but I understand now. I see the mistakes I made, the fear I let control me, and I'm ready to let it go." Patricia smiled. "Fear is natural. Love and patience are stronger. And look at you, you're embracing everything with courage now. That courage is what will make you an amazing mother." Allison's eyes glistened with tears. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mom. You never gave up on me." Patricia kissed her forehead softly. "I'll never give up on you. Not now, not ever." They stayed on the balcony, holding hands, watching the sunlight fade into soft evening glow. The bond between them felt renewed, stronger than it had been in years. A quiet closure with Rebecca. As the sun dipped behind the skyline, Rebecca approached Patricia. "I just want to say, thank you," she said quietly, "for understanding, for letting me step back, and for letting me be part of Allison's life in a positive way." Patricia nodded. "You helped her when she needed someone. That's enough." Just know. Family is about love, patience, and guidance. Allison needed all three, and now she has them. Rebecca smiled softly. I hope someday you can forgive me fully. Patricia reached out, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. I already have. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after. Rebecca nodded, tears in her eyes. She understood now. Her role had been temporary, and that was okay. The first kick. Later that evening, Allison felt a flutter in her belly. Mom, wait. I felt it. Patricia put her hand gently on her daughter's stomach. I feel it too, Beta. That's your baby. That little heartbeat is the start of a whole new chapter. Allison laughed softly, tears of joy spilling down her cheeks. I've never felt anything like this. It's incredible. Patricia hugged her tightly, whispering, this is just the beginning. And we'll face every step together. Always. The three of them, mother, daughter, and even the understanding presence of Rebecca stood in the nursery quietly, sharing the miracle of life. No past misunderstandings could overshadow this moment. No fears could take away this joy. The lesson learned. Patricia reflected silently. Love isn't about grand gestures or control. Love is quiet, patient, and understanding. Fear can push people apart, but truth and honesty bring them back together. She realized that what had seemed like a betrayal was only a test of patience, resilience, and understanding. She saw her daughter's growth, her own strength, and even Rebecca's humanity. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth. But it was real. And that was enough. Patricia kissed Allison's cheek one last time that evening. No matter what, Beta, you'll never walk this journey alone. I'll always be here. Allison held her mother's hand tightly. I know, Mom, I know. And in that quiet, tender moment, Patricia knew that the distance, misunderstandings, and fear had finally ended. A new chapter had begun, a chapter filled with love, understanding, and the promise of new life. Weeks passed. The days grew warmer, and the nursery, once empty, now felt alive with anticipation. Patricia and Allison spent almost every evening preparing for the babies, arrival, folding tiny clothes, arranging soft toys, and sharing stories of childhood memories that now seemed more precious than ever. Allison's fear had transformed into quiet excitement. She moved with confidence now, no longer weighed down by anxiety or doubt. And Patricia. She felt the full, quiet joy of being a mother again, included and needed. The night the baby arrived, it was a calm, clear night when Allison's contractions began. Patricia, ever the calm presence, held her daughter's hand in the car as they drove to the hospital. You're going to be amazing, Beta, Patricia whispered. I'm right here. Every step. Allison smiled weakly, squeezing her mother's hand. I know, Mom, thank you for never giving up on me. Rebecca, who had been invited to support Allison as a friend, quietly followed behind in the same car, giving space while remaining nearby in case of need. By the time they arrived at the hospital, the city lights reflected softly on Patricia's proud, calm expression. She had seen her daughter face fear, self-doubt, and pressure, and now she was about to see her become a mother. The first cry. Hours later, after gentle guidance from doctors and nurses, a baby boy arrived into the world. His cries were strong and steady, a perfect melody of new life. Patricia stood beside Allison, tears streaming down her cheeks. Beta, he's perfect. Allison held her son close, marveling at the tiny fingers and toes. He's everything I ever hoped for. Rebecca quietly placed a hand on Allison's shoulder. He's beautiful, and you're going to be a wonderful mother. Patricia smiled, grateful that even Rebecca understood her role, now supportive but not intrusive. Mother and daughter, hand in hand. Later, in the quiet hospital room, Patricia held her grandson gently, watching Allison sleep with the baby cradled in her arms. She whispered softly, "You were always brave, Beta. You just needed to see it in yourself. And now, look at you. You've created life, nurtured courage, and embraced love. Allison stirred and opened her eyes, smiling sleepily at her mother. Mom, I finally understand. Love isn't about control. It's about trust. And patience. And being there. Patricia nodded. Exactly, Beta. And it's never too late to rebuild, to grow, or to love deeper than before. The first family moment. The hospital room was quiet, but alive with warmth. For the first time in months, the family felt complete. There was no tension, no misunderstandings. Only the gentle rhythm of a new life and a restored bond. Patricia looked at Allison and her son. And then at Rebecca, who quietly smiled in support. This is how family works, Patricia whispered. Sometimes it takes mistakes, fear, and distance to truly understand each other. But when love is patient, it always finds a way back. Allison squeezed her mother's hand. Mom, I promise to never shut you out again. Not for fear, not for pride, not for anything. Patricia hugged her tightly, feeling a quiet pride swell in her chest. And I promise to always be here. To guide, to support, to love, unconditionally. A quiet celebration at home. A few days later, back at the small house with the mango trees, Patricia, Allison, and the baby settled in. The house, though modest, felt like the most magnificent palace. Love, understanding, and new beginnings filled every corner. The baby slept in the crib Patricia had once imagined long ago. Allison hummed softly, rocking him gently, while Patricia watched, smiling. Rebecca stood quietly in the corner, a silent witness to the power of reconciliation and understanding. She no longer needed to control or guide. Her role had ended gracefully, leaving room for mother and daughter to reclaim their bond. The final reflection. Patricia sat on the porch that evening, the scent of the mango trees filling the air. She thought back on the past months, the fear, the misunderstandings, the silent pain, and yet, she realized how every step, even the mistakes, had led to this moment, a moment of pure, undisturbed love. She whispered softly, as if talking to the universe itself. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love can heal fear, mend distance, and rebuild bonds. And nothing is stronger than a mother's love. Allison came out, holding her son, smiling sleepily. Mom, come meet your grandson. Patricia's heart swelled. She knelt down, taking the tiny baby in her arms, feeling the warmth, the soft weight, the miracle of life. She looked at her daughter, tears in her eyes, and whispered, Welcome to our family, Beta, welcome home. And in that quiet evening, under the soft glow of the mango trees, the family felt whole again. Every misunderstanding had faded, every fear had dissolved, and the promise of love, patience, and unity had finally blossomed. Just like the mango trees that had witnessed so much over the years. The story wasn't about the baby shower, or Rebecca, or fear. It was about love. It was about family. And it was about finally coming home to each other.